Welcome to Sinkowitz, hosted by the fearless Linda Sinkowitz. She's syncing you up with the latest in election integrity, from breaking headlines to critical updates you won't hear anywhere else. With Linda, it's facts first as she leads the fight for one vote for one legal voter. Stay informed, stay empowered. Let's jump in.
Hi, and welcome to Sinkwits. My name is Linda Sinkwits. I'm the founder and CEO of Fight Voter Fraud. And thank you, everyone, for watching us on OBBM Network TV. Now, this week, my guest is Alex Titcomb from the Dinner Table, and he's out of Maine. Our rundown for the week, the states that we're going to be covering are Arizona, Connecticut. We're going to do Kansas and Missouri together, Nevada, Ohio. Then we're going to go to our election and voting terms. We'll go to our trivia question. Then we'll go to our national news. Final thing would be vote notes. And then, of course, at the very end are my final thoughts. Well, let's get right to it right now with our guest, Alex Titcomb. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I really appreciate your agreeing to come on. We had your organization in a story a couple of weeks ago, and we wanted to make sure that people were aware that there are some things that were happening in Maine. Didn't necessarily work out the way you wanted it to, but why don't you explain to the audience what your organization is about?
Great. Well, thanks so much, and happy Thanksgiving coming up here. So,
You too.
so I founded the Dinner Table, which is now the largest and most active conservative grassroots organization here in Maine. And it's a membership-based organization, and we started just after 2020 election, kind of 2021 when we had launched. And we continually heard from our members their concern on election integrity, and the election results here in Maine and things like that. So after a few years of kind of listening and not really wanting to engage on that, because our primary mission is to win the majority in the state house. But inspired over those few years, and we decided to launch a citizens referendum to get voter ID on the ballot to kind of help with the election integrity issues. Last year, 2024, we had a historic signature drive here in Maine. We need about 68,000 signatures to get something onto the ballot. We got the most of 171,000 is what we submitted. So it's the most ever in Maine for a citizens initiative. And the cool story about that is that here in Maine, primarily organizations end up paying for signatures to get on the ballot. We were able to do it all volunteer. We had about 800 people that joined the mission to get it on the ballot and did it all volunteer effort, and the most signatures ever. So that was a huge success, kind of in that first phase of our citizens initiative to put voter ID on the ballot. And then this year, obviously, was the campaign phase. And we were, trying to get out the vote as best as we could. Still pretty much a grassroots campaign. Over the summer and fall, and unfortunately, election day didn't go our way, even on a popular issue, but we learned a lot.
One of the things that I believe I read was that there was a lot of misinformation out there concerning having the voter ID, which you and I know that's common sense. Mm-hmm. We're one of the few countries in the world that you don't have to prove it's you to go and vote, which is absolutely insane.
Right.
So having a voter ID to make sure that your vote counts and it's actually you. Mm-hmm. But what were some of the things that were out there that scared the people away from actually saying yes to the voter ID?
Right. Well, like you said, voter ID is popular, 80% nearly nationwide. Here it's a little lower, probably 70% here in Maine. We were advertising the voter ID requirement, which is popular. unfortunately, the opposition campaign was able to be successful in switching the narrative, not about voter ID. So most of the campaigning was not about the voter ID popular initiative, but they focused on the minor absentee changes that we put into along with the voter ID initiative. And there's going to be debate and has been debate. Did we make a mistake in adding those smaller, proposals in it?
What were some of the initiatives that you changed for the absentee ballot? What were you looking to have done?
So, and we would argue, that it was part of the requirement for the voter ID. For example, we wanted to stop allowing people to phone in their absentee ballot. Right now, you can just call your town office and be like, hey, send me a ballot, and they'll send you one in the mail. And obviously, requiring voter ID, that's kind of hard to do over the phone. So that was one of those minor changes. We wanted to change the last day of absentee ballot or early voting and shift it up 2 days. Right now, that ends here in Maine Thursday before Election Day. And our proposal was trying to change that last day to Tuesday before Election Day, because that's when, they start counting the ballots. So it's kind of like they're still sending ballots out while they're trying to count the ballots.
Wait a minute. They count the ballots before Election Day?
The absentee ballots, yeah. They start on Tuesday to start processing the ballots. So we were trying to shift the last day of early voting up by 2 days, and that alone allowed the opposition to say we were getting rid of absentee voting, which was 100% lie that the opposition campaign did. And in Maine, it was successful in scaring people away from supporting a common sense, election integrity measure.
All right. So I'm going back to this counting the ballots before Election Day. Yep. Do they really think that the results of the absentee ballots coming in are going to be kept quiet? That's crazy.
It is crazy. Supposedly they're not supposed to announce any results, or even even the clerks aren't supposed to even look at the results ahead of Election Day. But
we know they are already letting people know how many absentee ballots they have for John Smith that have come in. I mean, it's human nature that if people know about results ahead of time, that they know they can impact the election. Shame on Maine. Oh my goodness. I didn't realize it's even worse than Connecticut.
Yeah. It probably is.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's like having two separate elections from the absentee ones.
Yep.
They shouldn't at least here in Connecticut, they are not supposed to start counting the ballots and absentee ballots until 10 a.m. on Election Day, because people can still withdraw their ballots up until 10 a.m. on Election Day. I just can't get over the fact that they're counting them ahead of time and everybody going, shh, don't tell anybody.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. That needs to be changed in a big way.
It does. Yep, it absolutely does. Goodness. We weren't trying to change that aspect of it. We were just trying to shift the last day of early voting by 2 days.
Oh my goodness.
In that regard. So, and then there was, other smaller proposals that we added. And dinner table is really bold. We're the largest, most active conservative group in Maine. So, and we built out a campaign plan that would have, gotten us a lot closer, if not victory. But over this course of the summer, a few things that we didn't foresee when we first planned it came up that kind of limited our ability to effectively get the word out and get people to vote, because off-year election's a very small turnout.
So what types of lessons did you learn?
Even though I'm proud of our effort in doing the full package, and we chose that purposefully to do the full package of things and not just voter ID. One of the lessons is to go at it smaller, I guess. Do the easy win and focus on just one policy, and then come back to do more. and in a state like Maine, where it's been run by the opposition campaign, left of center, for quite a while. This was like the first right of center citizens initiative that's qualified and tried to be on the ballot for quite a while. So we were just not prepared. And the other thing that I don't know if I can solve it, but it's just a common downside, I guess. The left here, the left of center folks, very much grouped together and they support each other. So like the Maine Democrat Party came in on the opposition side, and they had like 36 some organizations all come together. And unfortunately, on the right of center folks, we aren't as good at doing that.
Right.
So the apparatus didn't come around. It was just basically us. Volunteers, grassroots people that tried to do this. So I would try to, lesson learned is try to see of building coalitions earlier in the cycle and trying to get people around the same table in regards to the ballot measure.
Right. And the initiatives and everything you do, I mean, for 2026, you need to be starting like now with everything that you're doing.
Yep.
But kudos to you and all your volunteers for stepping forward. I certainly hope you're going to continue your efforts.
Yep, absolutely. We'll keep at it. In regards, why we try. One of the reasons why we tried all of it is because if you're going to put all that effort into it, you might win. And then. And I don't think it's a blow. Some people will say, oh, it's a blow, a voter ID. This is going to impact other states around the country. And I don't think so, because anyone that actually will do their homework a little bit, they'll dig down and they'll realize the referendum was what initially started about voter ID, but it really got turned into absentee voting. And voter ID can survive. And just like if we put it forward, get the signatures again and put it on the ballot, I think it will be successful next time. Just strictly voter ID. So there's still hope. There's a lot of hope, and I look forward to other states. There's 36 states that have a voter ID requirement. I look forward to seeing that grow over the next few years.
Absolutely fantastic what you guys have done. I mean, even though you didn't succeed, you got it out there, and you just need to keep it on the minds of everybody up in Maine. I want to thank you so much for coming on. And your organization, again, is Dinner Table. And we'll put up your website, which is dinnertableaction.com. And I'm guessing you have things there for people if they want to volunteer their time to help you
Absolutely.
out.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Alex, for coming on. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Now we're going to go to a quick break and we'll be right back.
At Fight Voter Fraud, we work to ensure every legal vote is counted, and no unlawful vote ever diminishes the voice of we the people. We're fighting for you, in courtrooms and communities nationwide, to protect transparency, accountability, and fairness in every election. Our mission is simple: one vote for one legal voter. This is our country, this is our vote, let's protect it together.
Hi, and welcome back to Sinkwits. I'm Linda Sinkwits, again, the founder and CEO of Fight Voter Fraud. And that was Alex Titcomb from Dinner Table in Maine. I said, we'll probably talk more about it when I get down to my final thoughts at the end of the show on some stuff that I learned from him. So now we're going to go to Arizona. This is from AZ Free News, and it's from November 19th, 2025. Bollock introduces ballot measure aimed at expanding voter ID and citizenship verification. Now, Arizona Senator Shawana Bollock, she is the Republican in LD 20, submitted a new ballot referral, which is SCR 1001. It's intended to bolster confidence in the Arizona elections. It If approved by the legislature and then the voters in November of 2026, it would require documented proof of citizenship before a ballot is issued to any voter and end early voting at 7 p.m. on Friday before Election Day, shifting Arizona's voting schedule and creating a firmer deadlines for processing ballots, and mandate government issued identification in both in-person voting and early ballots. I think all of this is fantastic. So Bollock said the proposal is designed to, quote, put voters, not bureaucrats, not activists, not foreign interests, back in charge of how our elections are run, unquote. The 2026 legislative session begins on January 12th. And if both chambers agree, it will bypass the governor and go directly to the voters. Thank goodness, because the last thing you want is to have Governor Katie Hobbs to go and veto it, because anything that's for election integrity, she absolutely does not want. So kudos to Senator Bollock for bringing that forward. And let's hope the House and the Senate in Arizona pass her referral of what she wants done for election integrity. So now we're going to go on to Connecticut. Connecticut, it's my home state. This is from the New Haven Independent on November 19th, 2025. State to investigate Ward 3 election complaint. Now, one of the things here in Connecticut, I got to tell you, it was surprising to me that in New Haven, they actually call them wards instead of districts. So the SEEC, which is the State Election Enforcement Commission here in Connecticut, voted to investigate the complaint by Ward Alder, this is Ward Alder 3, Angel Hubbard, against her election opponent, Miguel Pittman. Meanwhile, Jason Bartlett, who helped to found a local independent party this year, which endorsed Pittman, says he intends to file a complaint on behalf of the Pittman campaign against a former alder and supporter of Hubbard. Well, first of all, what are you waiting for? I mean, you file the complaint. You don't say, well, plan on doing it. If you're going to do it, do it. 20 minutes. Fill it out. Send it in. Okay? Well, anyway, the complaint by Hubbard against Pittman alleged that Pittman's campaign enlisted unhoused people to register to vote at a false address in exchange for meals. Unhoused. I've never seen that used as referenced as homeless people or whomever they're referencing, but unhoused. Okay. Hubbard defeated Pittman 347 to 302. So we'll see what goes on with that. It's sort of like a tit for tat on what's happening. You got to read the rest of the story on this one, because again, it's sort of ridiculous. New Haven Independent. Check it out. Next, we're going on to Kansas and Missouri together. And this source is from KSHB 41 NBC. And this was from November 18th, 2025. Now, election officials in Kansas and Missouri announced a partnership to share voter rolls. The partnership is of particular interest for the Kansas City area because with the residents there, they can just relocate a few blocks apart, but they'd be in two different states. So, quote, by working together directly with Missouri, we can reduce duplicate registrations created when residents just move across the state line by updating voter registrations in a timely and as allowed by law. And that's according to the Kansas Secretary of State, Scott Schwab. Now, quote, Missouri already conducts rigorous list maintenance under federal and state laws, but working directly with Kansas allows us to improve accuracy even further, says Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins in a press release. Rigorous. I mean, I just think it's amazing how every Secretary of State that you talk to in the United States will tell you, oh, our list maintenance is absolutely the best. It's fantastic. No, it's not. So I am very happy that Kansas and Missouri are going to be swapping their voter rolls to actually improve their list maintenance. Kudos to them. Now we're going to go on to Nevada. Nevada, this is from the Pahumph Valley Times, and this is from November 19th, 2025. Voters urged to verify their information. Nye County Clerk Corey Friedhoff wants to make certain those that plan to participate in the 2026 elections next year are ready to do so without issues. She's urging all of the Nye County voters to verify and update their voter registration information. With the implementation of the new voter registration processes under Nevada revised statutes 293.5768 and 293.57699, which was effective on January 1st, 2025, many eligible Nye County residents may have been automatically their information updated through recent interactions with designated agencies, such as the Department of Motor Vehicles, that's the DMV, so known as the AVR, which is the automatic voter registration. The customer is automatically registered to vote unless they decline. Well, this is a setup for a big problem. This sometimes leads to inaccuracies, so people need to check their registration. Additional agencies that use the AVR are the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, as well as agencies authorized by the department to receive applications for Medicaid, the Silver State Health Insurance Exchange, and any tribe or agency that's been designated by the governor as AVR. Quote, Nye County voters can verify their registration status, update their information, and ensure their records are accurate and current by visiting the Nevada voter registration page or by contacting Nye County Clerk's office at area code 775-482-8127, or you can use area code 775-751-4270, the county noted. How many different agencies do you have that can register people to vote? I mean, why don't you have the sewer department too? I mean, you're listing everybody else out there. What I don't understand is if you are having this stuff go through all these other agencies, like Connecticut does, they're all still going to have to send it to the clerk's office or the election office. I mean, that's just a setup for more problems. It really is. Now we're going to go on to Ohio. Ohio, this is from cleveland.com, and this is from November 19th, 2025. Ohio Republicans fast-track major changes to absentee voting and registration. Now, the Republicans say that Senate Bill 293 will, quote, protect and improve the election process in Ohio, unquote. Democrats are whining the usual. It would be harder for some voters to cast a ballot. Here you go. Here you go. Okay. It never ceases to amaze me that whenever there's any initiatives going forward to improve election integrity, they are always whining that it's just going to make it so much harder. What do you mean actually verify that it's the actual person voting? Okay, back to the story. The bill cleared the House and Senate and now goes to the governor, Mike DeWine. The speed at which SB 293 moved is, quote, striking. Senate introduced the bill in mid-October, then passed it earlier this month. The House held a single hearing, folded another election bill into it, and passed it on Wednesday, over, of course, the objections of the Democrats. Then the Senate agreed with the House and made the changes, and it went off to the governor. Here's what the bill will do. It will end Ohio's 4-day grace period for mailed ballots. All absentee ballots would have to arrive by the time the polls close on election day. Yay! Require proof of citizenship when registering to vote or updating a registration. Another thumbs up on that. If the Secretary of State's office can't confirm citizenship through existing records like those from the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, the person must bring documentation to the polls or cast a provisional ballot. They have to order monthly checks of the statewide voter registration database by the Secretary of State's office, send monthly reports to county boards of elections listing voters who have died, and require election officials to challenge any voter flagged as a non-citizen on their driver's license or state ID. Probably need 2 boxes of these for the Democrats in Ohio because the bill is going to be signed. Excellent. Ohio. Woohoo! All right, so now we're going to go on to our elections and voting terms. This time it's from Bloomberg.com. And our word or words for the day are purple state and swing state. And believe it or not, both definitions are exactly the same. Both have the same definition according to Bloomberg. A U.S. state that is closely split between Republicans and Democratic voters. So there you go. So you can use purple state or swing state, and it's the same thing. Now we are going to go to our trivia question of the week. So our trivia question, and I got to tell you, I asked my husband this question. He actually got it right. I wouldn't have gotten it right. So, tiny Dixville Notch is known for being the first town in the United States to announce the winner of the U.S. presidential elections. In what state is Dixville Notch located? Why don't you think about it? We're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be right back.
We need your help to ensure one vote for one legal voter. Join Fight Voter Fraud. Request training, get the potential double-registered, double voter data for your town, and donate to support the fight. Visit fightvoterfraud.org because election integrity starts with you.
Hi, and welcome back to Sinkwits. Before I left you before the break, we had asked you the trivia question. The trivia question of the week is tiny Dixville Notch is known for being the first town in the United States to announce the winner of U.S. presidential elections. In what state is Dixville Notch located? And my husband guessed it correctly as New Hampshire. But I got to tell you, during the break, my technical advisor Googled Dixville Notch, and the population of Dixville Notch as of 2023 is 6. 6 people. It said as a census in 2020 there was 4, so obviously they must have had a couple of babies. But yeah, we were kind of joking during the break that you go in and vote at 6 and 6:02 you got the results. That's crazy. Never would have thought. 6 people. Dixville Notch, New Hampshire. Okay, so now we're going to go on to national news. National news, this is our source, is from 9 and 10 News, and that's from November 19th, 2025. Michigan Republicans seek federal oversight in 2026. Now, Republicans want the oversight by the feds, while the Democrats say, there's no problem, nothing to see here. So Jocelyn Benson, she's the Secretary of State. She is also running for governor. And, every other week, I think we talk about her and Michigan. But anyway, we have Marissa Kovac. She is the political director for the ACLU of Michigan, says, our elections in Michigan are safe, secure, and accurate. What did I tell you earlier in the program? They always say that. Ours are great. There's no problem. That should also show a red flag whenever they say that. So anyway, we have Senator Eric Nesbitt, Republican from District 20, who headlined the letter requesting the Department of Justice involvement, says he has concerns about Benson's status. Quote, why are they so concerned with having proper federal oversight of the elections in Michigan? What are they afraid of? Unquote. And then the rest of the article is the usual rhetoric. I tell you every week, sometimes it's very difficult to read these articles because you would need a case of tissues if you're going to read them all from start to finish, because it's just all whiners and complainers. So now we're going to go on to Vote Notes. Now, Vote Notes is our story that we're going to ask you to please go to our website and click on the link so you can read the entire story. This one had a lot of information in it. And it's from New Indiana election laws face court challenges over their constitutionality. Now, this is from the Indiana Lawyer, November 19th, 2025. So please click on the link. Basically, it starts off with students issued IDs are in question in the courts and the usual rhetoric of everything else. Everything's fine. Why change argument continues and multiple court actions. So it actually is worth a read. So go to Vote Notes and click on it, and you can see the entire story. So now we have come to the part of the program which is called Final Thoughts. As always, I do have a few opinions on things that I have seen, I've read. But the first thing I think I want to talk about is going back to Alex Titcomb, who it was our guest at the beginning of the program in Maine. I'm not even sure how many other states in the United States start counting the absentee ballots before election day. I'm really hoping that, people that are watching think it's as ridiculous as I think it is. There is no such thing within a government entity or agency or town hall or a election area where people who know the results of absentee ballots before election day are not going to tell somebody what they saw. Oh, by the way, there's, we'll know how many Democrats voted. We'll know how many Republicans voted because that's information that is out there. But the fact that they actually know the vote counts ahead of time, that's insane. That's one of the first things that should be gone after. I know that Alex and his group made an effort not only for the voter ID, which is commendable, that absolutely needs to go through, but this absentee ballots, they just wanted it to stop a few days earlier, and then start doing the count. No, no, stop it, but don't do the count until election day. As I mentioned, I know here in Connecticut, they are not allowed to start counting the absentee ballots until 10 a.m. on election day. And the reason for that is because under Connecticut state law, if you voted absentee, you can still pull your ballot back as long as it's before 10 a.m. on election day. Does that cause problems? Of course it does. But to be able to count the votes ahead of time, I mean, it's amazing how every state has different laws. I think one of the most absurd things I see, or the ones that are the most absurd, we know what color states those are in. And those are the ones that are going to be out there saying, oh, we're perfect. We have no issues. Everything runs smoothly. Again, red flag that there is definitely a problem. I would much rather have the honesty of the Secretary of States or the election officials saying, listen, we're not perfect. We sometimes make mistakes. We're trying to improve that. How can we improve it? But that's not what we hear. We have things like in Michigan, the Secretary of State's office will not even let the legislators know the directives that are in the handbook for the election officials. Really? What are you hiding? What, in order to improve things, the legislators actually need to know, what are they being told? What are the parameters of when can they open ballots? How many people do you need at the polling stations? And all of that. So anything that is hidden, I think is a problem. I think it's a big problem. Now, one of the other things that we talked about last week was my seeing a tremendous amount of Trump derangement syndrome here in Middletown, Connecticut. I mean, it was a sight to behold in a not small town. I think we have like 50,000 people in Middletown, but to see people who just do not get the information because they're listening to the fake news, the drive-by media, or just plain lies. I mean, a lot of the disinformation that is out there is being drilled into people's heads that they're not thinking on their own anymore. They're not. People need to look at both sides and then make a decision. But we don't have that in our country. I cannot believe how many people thought that the Republicans and Trump were the cause of the shutdown. Really? They voted, 14 times to open it up. Yet it was the Democrats because they wanted the 1.5 trillion to benefit illegals. Look at all the stuff that's coming out now on SNAP. All the fraud, all the illegals, all the ones on Medicare. I mean, Hakeem Jeffries was out there saying, "Oh, there's no illegals getting any of the SNAP benefits. They're not getting any of the Medicare. We need to stop Doge because it's not doing anything." No, what it's doing is uncovering the corruption that has taken decades, and that's our tax dollars, our tax dollars. I mean, I just can't understand one side here because they like going over the edge. So when we try to have free and fair elections in our republic, and they think it's terrible that we want voter ID. How many of you out there think that only people who are supposed to vote in your county or your town or your state are the ones that are voting? You need help. I'm sorry. You need help. Take a step back, turn off the news, and don't watch it. Okay? Just, go a day or two without all that stuff being spooned into your head that is false. Look at alternate news information. Look at what comes out of the federal agencies, the press releases, the ones from Department of Justice, from the Treasury Department, from the White House. You know full well that when information is put out there by those agencies, they have the documentation to back it up. When you hear it from fake news, or from the ones that are just going after ICE and everybody else, the where you're taking my neighbor away. Your neighbor has not contributed to our country. The first thing they did was they broke the law. We have laws. If you don't have laws, you have chaos. And all President Trump is doing is enforcing the laws that have been in place. If you don't like it, well, then put people in place who will say, yeah, just bring everybody in. And you know what? We don't care about the seniors that worked all their lives here in the United States. We don't want to help the seniors out. We don't want to help out anybody who is in the workforce here that's a U.S. citizen. What we want to do is we want to help the criminal entities, the illegals, the people who haven't paid anything into the system. We want to give them free health care, free phones, free housing, free everything. And you know what that's taken away from? Your children, your grandchildren. The schools themselves have way too many people in the schools that the teachers can't handle, because now you have to have a multitude of people speaking many different languages. So your child is no longer a priority in our society. Come on, people, please wake up. Wake up. If you are someone who actually understands what's going on, one person, think about one person you know, talk to them rationally, challenge them to watch other news networks that, hey, may actually even give you the facts. Not all of them are perfect. I'm telling you, not all of them are perfect. But you really need to look at alternate news stations than what you're looking at. Again, my challenge to you is have a conversation. Just don't do it during Thanksgiving. That's the last thing you want to do at the dinner table. Listen, I'm walking into a number of socialists and far left liberals, and it's going to be interesting. And you know what? I'm going to keep my mouth shut because I want to enjoy my Thanksgiving. Well, thank you again for watching Sinkowitz. I'm Linda Sinkowitz, and we want to encourage everyone to go to OBBM Network TV. What we're trying to do is educate everyone on the possible, anyone who's watching our program, on election integrity or what's going on in a number of states and nationally on what we need to do. So again, I want to thank everyone for watching and listening. OBBM Network TV, on a Rumble, on YouTube. Like, share, poke fun at, use me as, the dartboard. But thank you again so much, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you next week.